Hello and welcome to the Haw River Trail, the river guide series by River Kings. Join your host and expert guide, paddler, and all-around great guy, Pete Beck, as we explore the magnificent Middle Haw. Let our cameras bring you alongside our go ahead and get 'em team of guys that'll go and get 'em. Although I have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm using this voice so this video will be exciting.
Today we're going to cover the Middle Haw. This will go from Bynum Dam to NC 64. This is my good friend Keith Cagle. This is his first time in a kayak. The water is running at 3.22 cubic feet per second, which is a little below the suggested minimal. So it's a little draggy, a little rocky, but a perfect level for Keith to get his first day in a kayak. So when you get in the boat, you want to come out to the center here. The best track of water is a little bit out there. So you're getting out about to the middle of the dam, maybe a little shy. And then we'll hang a left and start making our way down the river. The entire run today will be 4.5 miles. The water is just about as low as you'd want to get on it and still be able to get down without abusing your boat or just being very annoying because you're hitting so many rocks. But again, it's perfect level for Keith. Mistakes really won't mean consequences. So if you're looking to really explore this river, this is a great level. The gauge is the gauge at Bynum on the USGS river database. And again, it's 3.22 cubic feet per second today. So here we go, just pop down this run and then under the bridge, there's a second bridge that's decommissioned to traffic. You can walk across it, but that'll be just up ahead. And you want to read about center left here and about center of the other bridge. As with the other runs, when the water's a little lower, there's really no right or wrong answer. It's just a matter of getting down the river, preferably without getting stuck on rocks or dragging. So as you approach it, just look for the water, shoot for the tongues, and use it as a good exercise to practice the skills that you will need for these must-make moves when the water is up. Here you see Keith, still getting the feel about it, trying to figure out what this boat's going to do when he tries to paddle left and right. Hitting rocks, lean downstream, that was good. You always want to lean downstream when you hit an object with the side of your kayak. Keep you from tipping. Now Keith is one of these guys that's pretty good at everything he does, and he's a quick learner. So by the end of the day, he'd look like a veteran kayaker with years of experience. Just wanted to point out that at today's water level, if you ever felt like you were drowning, you could just simply stand up. But if you were going to attempt this run at a higher level, I would recommend wearing a personal flotation device as well as a helmet. The upper, middle, and lower Haw have seen many rescues over the years from kayakers that have gotten in over their heads at higher flows. Some of this increase in volume can happen quickly with rains up in the Burlington area. Other times people just bite off more than they can chew. Here we are at the bridge. Just take that center slot, flushes you right through. Shortly after the bridge, you're going to have to make a decision to go right or left around this island. And at lower flows, left is the only viable option, which is where we went today. And this is typical for what you'll see going around the island, as well as the rest of the run. There are a few good-sized rapids on here that need water to make them really good. I'll show you one a little later that would have been fantastic at about a 4 or 5 foot drop, but there was so little water going over it, we really had no option to run it and had to backtrack and go right through some different islands. A few years back, I did a source to sea trip on this river, and when I came through in September, I had about half this water level. Unfortunately, I also had close to 100 pounds of gear in my boat. So to do an elf run on this river, which is extra low flow, with 100 pounds of gear, To say it was a challenge to get through is an understatement. It's very difficult to find a slot deep enough to float the kayak oftentimes. So while it is a little lower than the preferred minimal or the recommended minimal water flow, don't be afraid to take on a river if it's a little low. At this level, there's still plenty of water to get down. Now up to this point, mostly Keith has been following me through the lines as he's learning how to read the river and what it looks like in person. And being the first time in his kayak, he was doing pretty good. And shortly after this point, we decided to let him take the lead since the consequences were very low for making any bad decisions. This really helps someone if they're learning how to kayak because they're having to look at the water themselves to make the decisions versus just follow somebody. Here you see Keith and I bopping down the far left channel, and we've been kind of staying left today, and just up ahead is a really good ledge to have a really good rapid on it if there's a lot of water. But it's the far left narrow channel, so pretty good chance there'll be some wood in there, so you're going to want to scout this at higher flows. And we took it as far as we could go. Here's the look at the ledge, dropping about 4 feet. There's just no water going over it really, so we opted to back out as the downstream of this looked like we'd be getting out and dragging our boat for a while. At higher flows, this would be a fantastic rapid. So now we backtrack and find a little side cut here to get out to the river right channel. And this was a little exciting. Keith stuck over on the channel to the left, but I found a little place through and he manages to squeeze through as well. Be careful of things like this undercut here on the right, where all that rack line debris is being undercut by the river. Don't get into that. I would not suggest doing this little track at high water because there's a lot of places to get stuck. But again, at low water, you're really low on consequence, as the depth of the river is very low and the push from the river is also not very great. So here we are meeting back with the middle and right channels. Just following this point to our left, about right where the boat was pointing there, is this rapid. Just kind of point through. I hugged the boulder on the left and then raced on through there. At high water, that's a great rapid with a lot of push to it. Here's Keith coming down. You can see the shallowness of the water. So he's playing pinball on the rocks here. So there we are, that's the rapid that we backtracked and went around. As we're coming down the river here, we eventually make our way over to the left side and then follow this big island around to the left. At higher flows, you're going to want to stay in the far right channel, as you will miss the takeout if you don't, if you plan on getting out at 64. As you see, we went in there and got under the bridge in the middle channel and just past there, shimmied over a little bit of land and then paddled back up to the takeout. Most of this run is very similar to the upper Haw, but in the last stretches it really begins to pick up pace and the drop in the river really begins to take shape, which will resemble what you get in the lower Haw, which is from 64, today's takeout, down to the Jordan Lake. Just after that flat stretch, the river dries out on the right side and we make our way over through some of these finger islands to the left channel. Here we are in the far left channel. You'll notice a ladder on the tree. I think there may have been a rope swing at one time, although the water depth here was only about 3 feet. Not sure how they were making that work. So this is the last of the flat stretches before the river really starts dropping off to the 64 bridge and continuing on to Jordan Lake. Once you see the Boulder Garden form starting on the right side, this is where if the water's high, you're going to need to stay right, or if the water's low, you need to stay left. You can see Keith's really picked up a lot in the couple hours he was paddling. Looks much more confident and relaxed in the boat. Doesn't have what I call the wiggles. He's kind of figured out how to make this thing do what he wants it to do. One thing I stress early to anybody I'm teaching how to kayak is to not do the G.I. Joe, which is where you just put your hands up in the air with your paddle as you go through a rapid. I always want to keep a paddle blade in the water, even all the way through the rapid. And you can see Keith is doing that. That's going to help him out in the long run as he does more and more paddling. Big tip for the day, always keep your blade in the water. Helps you keep control of your boat no matter what you're doing. We are now in the second from the left channel, which will stay until we get to the bridge. After the bridge, we'll kind of slide over one more channel to the right until beyond the bridge about 100 yards we find a little place to shimmy over the hill, a little island into the far right channel where we can paddle upstream. At higher waters you could probably paddle over this little island, but at higher water you would also need to be in the far right channel through this stretch so you don't have any mix up at the end by missing the takeout. So you have the 64 bridge in sight, and you know the takeout is just on the other side of that on the far river right. So we start trying to wind our way as far over there as we can get. Here we are in a little middle channel, and this is the little side cut island shortcut we found. We squeeze our way in and then paddle up to just about at the abutment of the bridge where the takeout is. You can see my truck in the parking lot there. There's the access point, and there you have it. That's Bynum to 64, also known as the Middle Haw. And thanks for watching.